Welcome to the Nighttime Show. I am your guest announcer, Josh Sussman, and as always, I am with your head writer, producer, funny man, funny Matt Walker. And today, we have a very special guest. You've seen his movies, or if you haven't, you should. He wrote Starlet, Tangerine, and as of this morning, he wrote and produced the Golden Globe-nominated The Florida Project, Chris Bergoch. And as always, we have our host. He's a funny man. He's a heavy man. He gives good hugs. Stephen Glickman.
Hey, nice. Josh Sussman, thank you so much for being here. And Chris, holy crap, congratulations, man.
Oh, thank
you. Golden Globe. Say that 4 times fast. Golden Globes.
You got a nice set of Golden Globes under that T-shirt there, Steve.
You know what? These are been perfected over time.
All natural.
All natural Golden Globes. That is a huge deal. What did it get nominated for?
Willem picked up a Best Supporting this morning, which is really cool.
If he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for a Golden Globe, Willem Defoe, who's in the movie, and that is a tip-off, man. He's going to get nominated for Best Supporting for the Oscar.
Well, I mean, he's doing really well out there. A lot of the critics out there are giving him the noms and the accolades for the Best Supporting.
People love him.
That's great.
Man. People love him, and they love him in your movie.
How did you get him in the movie?
You know, it's funny. It was very last minute, and we were
you had
talking.
Kevin Spacey, and then you had to replace him with Willem Defoe.
Last minute. It's all digital. It's still Spacey's body.
Okay.
Fact.
Because that happened with Christopher Plummer got nominated for a bunch of stuff. Like he was in a movie. Like a month ago, he wasn't in a movie, and then today he got nominated for Golden Globe for Best Actor.
It's incredible how Ridley pulled that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is that unprecedented?
That's unprecedented.
That's got to be.
Yeah, because he only filmed that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And do you think that's what they're doing? Like, do you remember the first time I ever heard of this? It blew my mind. Was way back in Jurassic Park. There's a shot of Ariana Richards, is that her name? Lex? Yeah, and she's dangling from the thing, and the raptor's jumping up at her, and they had a stunt woman, and then they digitally put her face on the stunt woman, and I was like, oh my God, they could do that now? That was like in 93.
I remember that.
So is that what they did for this? Like, they're just keeping Spacey's body and
No. They went out. No, my friend produced the movie.
Oh.
He's EP on it, and they sent out. They went out and reshot all
incredible.
His angles
in a month. That's
all his every angle that would have been Spacey in the movie.
That should win effects over Star Wars, I think, just because of the feet.
That's a big deal, man. That's crazy. It's a crazy amount of work to have to go through to change
to release it. Like how soon? Like how long is the time between time you're like, okay, the movie's done and they can show it at the theater? They got to do stuff with the actual movie to put it there.
I guess it's quicker than it used to be in the old days because they don't have to strike prints anymore. It's all just the DCPs or whatever.
Maybe it wasn't
digital
that big a part.
files.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the other thing too. We haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how much of the movie he's in.
Yeah,
but it seems like a significant amount. Seems like a lot.
Well,
he's got a lot
they
of
could have
stuff to
spent
do.
all the money in the world.
That's funny.
Could have spent
Jesus
that.
Christ!
Well, they released the Kevin Spacey cut on DVD. Like, should that performance be lost forever?
I mean that's a
We'll
good
never
question. Just like people wonder, like I don't think we'll ever get to see the Lord Miller cut of Solo, but people are going to wonder, like, could we ever see that, or what would it be like compared to the Ron Howard?
Well, now
cut?
The Daddy I Love You, Louis C.K. just bought back the rights.
He did?
Yeah, as of yesterday, he bought back the rights. He gave them their money back, basically. Orchard Films.
Really?
So I don't know what he's going to do with it. Whether it's going to sit for a while and then maybe it'll come out on his website or something.
Yeah, because he self-distributed his.
Yeah, I mean he could put something out on his website easily.
Wow! My God!
I saw it in Toronto.
What'd you think?
I liked that movie a lot.
You saw
Daddy, I love
Daddy,
you.
I Love
You, Daddy.
Sure.
But that's before all the stuff came out, and I don't think it's. I'm glad I
What
saw
stuff
it.
came out?
Wait, what happened? what happened to
What
it?
stuff came out of Louis
literally
C.K.?
came out,
Did stuff come out of him? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty sure
In his hotel room.
It took a lot of work, but some stuff came out
yes.
of Louis C.K. I'm pretty sure.
I just wish no one will ever be able to watch that movie.
Without knowing that.
Yeah, without judging him, because there's so many similarities. It's nuts.
Yeah, I can't imagine. What's a scene from it that you saw that was?
Well,
give me a couple.
There's
Give
a
us a
scene
couple
where
moments.
the Charlie Day character kind of pantomimes masturbating in front of people.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're not going to be
yes.
able to not think of reality. You know, but I guess I don't know. It's weird that he would put stuff like that in there. It's almost.
But
like
it's
a
also
confessional
possible
or-
that Charlie Day just ad-libbed that.
Could-
I wouldn't
could-
put it past
yeah.
Charlie Day.
Right.
Well, you know, what it kind of seemed like with that one, and Tig Notaro, I guess Tig Notaro talked about it, which I have my own feelings about, but she said something about it like the reason that she felt like the reason that he produced her special was to give him some like I don't want to say like a blockade of like people couldn't be like, oh, he's a bad guy because he's doing this nice thing for her. And then like he's done that a couple times where he's like put stuff like he's doing stuff in his act about the stuff he was doing in real life. And so that way maybe, you know, reality and you know,
Although from all accounts, the stuff he was putting in his act was years after the stuff he did in real life. Like this is all accounts from like 15 years ago. It's not like they were like, oh, last year Louis C.K. did this. This is like 12 years ago Louis C.K. did this, whatever. Like, so it's it's possible that maybe obviously he did this and then maybe he grew as a person and decided to talk about it in a way that he could on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he was continuing to do this, at least as far as we know.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like last year he was doing this.
No, that's like where like I know we're jumping way off topic,
this is
but
the stuff that needs to be
look,
talked about.
I mean, what's it called? John Oliver just had this thing where he like went after Dustin Hoffman during an interview.
Wag the Dog 20-year
the
anniversary
20-year
screening.
anniversary screening, and I watched it and I listened to what he was saying, and I've read stuff on Dustin Hoffman and like what he had done as far as what I could tell of what he had done. And I mean, this is just, let me know if I'm wrong. But what I'd heard is that he had said to a woman on set, "Hey, did you have sex this weekend?" And that he maybe one or two other things. But it was like very. It wasn't like it wasn't like horrifying.
He wasn't Matt Lowering them.
No, he wasn't Harvey Weinstein, right? And John Oliver, it seemed like kind of took advantage of the situation and kind of went real hard after him, and it was so uncomfortable to watch. It sucked to watch.
Dustin's not going to want to do any Q&As anymore, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure
Yeah.
he's
Turn the
out
guy
from
off
that.
to it,
But
yeah.
I'm not sure what my duties as guest announcer are. But I know we asked Chris,
You can say
how
whatever.
did you get Willem Dafoe?
Oh, yes.
And
Oh,
then it
that's
turned
right.
into the Kevin Spacey joke, so I realized I never got answered.
That is, we should ask.
So as guest
How
announcer,
did, I think you're right,
Christ
Josh.
on a
But
cracker.
I just also
You're
wanna
so
say-
right.
Regardless of what Dustin's done in his past, was that professional of him to have done? Shouldn't they just be talking about Wag the Dog if it's a Wag the Dog 20? I don't know. I don't know the rules.
Man, I don't know how it's supposed to go. It really sucks. It really sucks when you're a fan of somebody and you're like, I don't want to believe horrible things about
exactly.
them.
Right.
That's the worst.
You could just be like
possible-
me and just not care what anybody does in their personal life. Like, I appreciate people's work. I don't care about them as a human being. Like, I like what they do. I will support what they do because I like it. I don't care what they have to do. Like, they could turn out to be an axe murderer, and I'm like, well, that's still a good movie.
So you're waiting for Naked Gun 4 starring O.J. Simpson.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd totally watch it. Like, if
deep-
it was
that's a
good,
deep
I mean, it'll
cut.
never happen, but
Do you think we'll ever get a fourth Naked Gun movie without Leslie Nielsen?
no.
No.
You
The thing
need
about-
Leslie Nielsen to do Naked Gun.
And they wouldn't do it. Wouldn't even. I mean, do you guys realize that what made the first one so classic is that nothing was ever winked at, and there was no self-acknowledgement. And then
Yeah.
as the
Right.
like the movies went on, they
They
not
got
naked,
worse and worse.
Yeah, they sort of like did that. Leslie Nielsen looking at the audience and taking that second.
Yeah,
it's like-
because, I mean, like, look, Airplane,
Yeah.
brilliant. The first Naked Gun, brilliant. After that, they're sort of like, not quite as good anymore. And then, then you get into, like, the Hot Shots Part 2, and you're like,
they
okay,
became
they're garbage
self-aware,
now. Yeah.
and it took away from what made it work.
Okay,
for
well,
me.
before we
Okay.
get into talking about,
we back to Willem Dafoe?
Before we get into William Dafoe, which
You each have
which
different pronunciations. You're saying William, Matt's saying Willem.
It's Willem.
it is
it's
Willem.
Willem
yeah,
Dafoe.
Willem, yeah.
Is that
Okay,
rude
before
to
we get
correct
into
the host?
talking to it's fine.
You
Before
should-
we start talking about Willem Dafoe,
You should correct Stephen as much as possible.
please
Josh.
do, please do.
guest
I'll
host.
never be
Before-
guest announcer again.
But hang on a second. Before we get into talking about Willem Dafoe, what I'm very interested in, this is what I'm interested in, Chris Bergoch, You have 3 movies that I know of, and you worked on
Greg the Bunny.
Greg the Bunny,
Warren the
right?
Ape,
And
yes.
Warren the
That's
Ape.
where I met guest
So
announcer.
so Greg the Bunny, Warren the Ape, Starlet, Tangerine, and now Florida Project. I know you. Like, you and I know each other
For a while now.
For a while.
Yeah.
You have who you are in your regular life, like what you're into in your life.
Yes.
Doesn't it seems like an interesting it seems very different than the type of stuff that you make. Like, it seems like you're kind of like because I what I know about you is I know that you're super into Disneyland. That's
true.
You're very into Disney. You're very into the movies, and you go to you go out a lot to that type of stuff. Like, that's what you're really into. Is that right?
That's yes, correct.
What
That's
else are you
correct.
super passionate about? Because we just had Drake Bell on the show.
Oh, yeah.
and Drake goes to Disneyland like
100 times a year.
100 times
He's a
year.
hero. My dream is to have a home like Drake Bell. If you've heard about his
of course,
home,
we've
yeah.
been to
Oh,
his
yeah, we
house.
talked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Disneyland home,
Yeah,
basically.
it's the stuff of legend that you hear about it in the parks. People are talking about it.
Is that what you're mostly? Is that one of your big things that you're into? Is Disney?
when I lived in New York, I actually, like Drake, I mean, his is probably far more advanced than mine was, but in New York, I had a tiki room that I made.
Oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, I tried to duplicate the, enchanted tiki room. It was the worst day when I moved from. I don't miss New York. I love being out here, but I do miss the tiki room, and I want to recreate it someday.
I love that.
You should have an easier time making a tiki room in LA because there's a lot of tiki stuff around.
Yes,
Sure.
that's true.
Yeah.
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 So how do
Easier.
you go from how did you get started, and how does Disney factor in?
Well, the thing is, to answer your question, it's funny because if you look deep, you could find the similarities. Like when Sean and I were writing Starlet, Up was fresh in my head, and that was a big influence on Starlet because you have the relationship between an older 81-year-old woman and a younger 21-year-old girl, and it was totally Russell and Carl dynamics being infused into that.
What was the plot line for the listeners that haven't seen?
Oh yeah, so Starlet is a 2012 film. It's on Netflix, and it's just
The old
about
woman dies, and then they get a house with balloons. And then
Right. It's let him tell the damn story.
no,
Sorry.
that's the sequel.
I'm just kidding.
That's
All
the
right.
sequel. And it's just an unlikely friendship between an older woman and a young woman in the San Fernando Valley. And the secrets we learn along the way is that she's an adult film star, but we don't really focus on that. And so it's sort of like these two lonely characters finding each other.
I like that. I think something that's always really interesting, especially about like Disney and things like that, is like Disney is so like, it's so cheerful and so like pure. Everything is so like family values that anytime you can take that type of energy and then add anything kind of fucked up to it it makes really great movie. It makes great movies. It makes great television, and it's there's something really neat about that because you're like taking something pure and then you're just kind of messing with it, and that's what it's all. That seems like what a lot of your movies are about.
Yeah, and there's no better example of what you just said than the Florida Project. I think it's the ultimate Sean Baker, Chris Bergoch colliding of our sensibilities.
Yeah, because that film, as far as of what I know, it's a film about families that live nearby Walt Disney World in Florida,
Right.
but are poor. Like they're like poor,
Yeah.
kind of like families in that. And what's it like to grow up so close to the happiest place on earth, but not
Right.
be in it?
Right.
basically.
It all came from, I had been going to Disney World with my family starting from 4 years old. And, every time I went up through my teens with friends, you're just in this 43 square miles of the most magical place on earth bubble. But then when my mom moved down there, she relocated down there from New Jersey in around 2005. And when I would visit her, I'd borrow her car to go to the parks. And that's when I was exposed to this whole other outside the radius of the magic.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's when it came to my attention that there are these, kids growing up in these motels. And, it just seemed like a great, I shouldn't use the word great. It's not great at all.
Yeah. Interesting.
But
Yeah.
it seemed like a real life fairy tale that these kids were growing up in the shadow of Cinderella Castle. but yet they were finding their own magic. You know,
like what they were doing.
Yeah, in the same way that we would, like play hide and seek or manhunt.
Yeah, like I remember when I first moved to Los Angeles in 1997, 96, 97. I moved here and lived across the street from Disney Animation Studios and the Disney Studios in Burbank, and it was the most emotionally difficult place I've ever lived in my life. I will never live in Burbank in that little quarter mile
Why
ever
not?
again.
It's a nice area.
Because it is, as an actor, it is it's a very difficult place to live because you're constantly driving by the places you want to be.
Oh, yes.
But you're not allowed in.
But now you're a big Disney
Now
actor.
I'm a big Disney actor. No, but at the time, I mean, like
You feel like Charlie
I'm
outside the chocolate factory.
I was just
wondering.
on Stuck in the Middle, the Disney Christmas special, which just aired this past Friday, which was very cool and very neat, and something I learned which is super fascinating and different about Nickelodeon. That is what Disney does. They are not into nuance. Like they are very much they go for the joke, they do the joke, and they move on. Anything
That's good for you because you don't really do nuance.
Right,
It's not,
yeah.
That's not in your wheelhouse.
Sure.
Nuance.
But like any sort of like weird, funny, awkwardy, kind of strange, silly, strange moments, gone from the from it. And I'm not talking about my performance. I'm talking about like in the script, like stuff that was in the script that was weird and kind of a little quirky does
Gone.
not exist in the actual thing.
Don't need it.
Yeah, it's just gone. But Nickelodeon was all awkward and nerdy and like quirky. Like that's all that's all they do. So it was interesting. I mean, I thought the episode, I mean the premiere came out really, really good and it was really funny, but
I wonder if that has to do with sensibilities of the execs or if it's focus group data.
It's the execs. The
People
execs
don't like nuance.
I've heard repeatedly that Disney Channel does not believe that kids understand irony, and they don't like irony. And things like that. Like they want stuff that's straightforward.
Disney Channel believes that kids are stupid, and Disney Channel
that's
is correct.
That's not true.
Kids
that's
are
not
stupid.
true.
It's
That's
a
not
Kids
lie.
true.
are
It's
very,
a lie.
very
It's a
stupid.
lie. It's a lie.
It's what I've heard is that not that they think that kids are stupid, that they think that kids only that kids only relate to stuff that is like made
For the record,
them.
I believe kids are stupid.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. But that only is for live action. When it comes to animated stuff, they're totally
all kinds of crazy
They
stuff
do
in
whatever
anime.
the hell they want to do.
But also, that's a totally different group of people that are Disney.
That's also not Disney the movies. That's Disney just
Disney Channel's a different
television.
group of execs.
But I would do anything to be on a Disney, like to do like another Disney series, like to be like a dad or something. But then those sets are so cool and fun and easy and like. Ugh.
But then again, in your stand-up, you've talked about how it can be
Yeah,
weird
well, they
to be on the shows.
Yeah, they
I don't know you, but my kids know you. I don't know who you are, but my kids say you're pretty great. And what do you always want to say to that, Mom?
Oh,
And I've seen that happen with our guest host quite a few times. Same situation where the moms are.
Someone's trying to sneak in.
Edit.
I noticed an
Please
intruder.
continue.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Okay, so
so Willem Defoe is the
Yes.
answer.
How did Willem Defoe end up in your movie?
It just
How'd
was,
that happen?
he was a fan of Tangerine. He was a fangerine, and he met with Sean Baker, and he just wanted to work with Sean. So
Wow.
it was, he read the script and he liked what we were going for.
So when in the process, like, was he one of the first people you got because he's
very
sort of a
late
big
in the
name?
process.
Or was he-
We got him we shot in June of 2016 was the start of the shooting, and I think he came aboard in like April, like 2 months.
Whoa.
Because we were talking about some other actors
Yeah.
beforehand, and it just wasn't working out. Because you need that big name, quote unquote, for the financiers to be happy. And
Who else were you guys looking at? Was there anyone else?
There was just a short list. It was like with Haley, for example. We wrote the Haley role, which is the mom played by Bria Venate. I never could get her name right. It's Venate. Anyway, as we wanted it to be sort of a former Mouseketeer and have sort of meta casting. And so when I wrote the script, I had Britney Spears in my head, not thinking we were going to go out to get her or offer it to Britney, but just
that
as
type.
that type. And then we were talking everybody from her to like the Christina Aguileras to everybody in that wheelhouse. But Sean Baker, he was very smart to think that once we started, getting closer and closer, that role. It just wouldn't feel right to have a big, name or recognizable face in this character, and it would serve the story better if we got a fresh face and someone that
you
was
guys
new.
found her through
Instagram. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just Sean movies have this very strange luck, and he has a really good instinct with casting.
Unbelievable.
Because obviously
I gotta post more on Instagram.
So you guys
what am I doing?
Yeah, right. So you guys write these. You wrote this movie.
Yes.
And then did he direct the movie as
Sean
well?
directed.
So
yes.
Sean directed
Yeah,
it.
I produced.
You
was one of the
produced on it.
producers. Yes.
And then you guys worked on like pulling together the cast for it as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
That
yeah.
is unbelievable.
We cast every single. We had Carmen Cuba came aboard, and we had a local casting called. I'll get back to you on
Carmen Cuba did Stranger Things casting. Carmen Cuba.
Oh my God, that's
those
huge.
kids.
But the
That's
kids,
huge.
we had local Crowdshot, local Orlando casting agency helped us have local casting with the kids, and it was really hard to find the right kids, because we needed kids. There's a script, so they needed to be able to learn lines and be.
And
able
what
to
age are we talking about?
Like 5, 6, 7.
That's rough. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you went through casting with like 5-year-olds for small business.
Yeah.
And
Back in
that
the
was
day.
a tough process for you, I remember.
Yeah.
For us, it was you found people who could memorize lines and come in and read them, and then you found people who could be great and cute at improv but not remember the lines.
Right.
We needed a balance of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that is a lot of work.
Was that the hardest part, casting the kids?
It was, and we were going to delay the shoot because we couldn't find our Mooney. That's our lead character, and then Brooklyn Prince came in. And this was in, I think, May, like a month out, and it was just this.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she walked in, and we were laughing before the audition even started, because she comes in, and Christopher Rivera, who plays Scooty, was auditioning at the same time. And before the audition started, Christopher was like, wait, I got to psych myself up, and I'm going to do some push-ups. And so he starts doing push-ups, and then she starts doing squats. So before we even started, it was theirs to lose.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, we were just very
Good
lucky.
for them, man.
to
What a
Changed their life.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. And you did the same thing with Tangerine. Now, Tangerine was that movie. Wasn't it? Like, it set records as far as like at Sundance and at
First
places
movie
like
ever
that.
shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, there were documentaries and there were some other things.
Yeah, but first, like,
that-
feature script.
I think what it
Owen
is
Smith's
is
comedy special was
we
all
were the
iPhones.
yeah we were the first I
Yeah,
think, maybe to land in theaters to find distributor.
That was scripted, though.
Yes.
Yeah, as opposed to
Yeah.
like a documentary or
Right.
something. So shot completely on iPhones.
And that was just a budgetary decision. I mean,
Yeah.
because we had no money for Tangerine. And
Wow.
Did
you record audio separately for Tangerine?
No, we had a guy named Aaron Strauss. He's a mad sound genius from New York who worked with us on Greg the Bunny and Starlit. And he just, we did it the old school way. We slated, and he's just booming everything, some wireless lavaliers. And
Yeah, so no iPhone audio.
yeah, no, you can't. That's the thing. People say, oh, everybody can make a movie on an iPhone. Yes, you can, but you got to get the sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really adds a lot
God,
to,
isn't that right?
And Iron is the best sound man out there. That if I ever make a movie, I'm going to hire him. He's a sound ninja. He puts microphones in places that you can't see him, and it's like, how is this going to be recorded? And then it sounds great. And Iron, if you're listening, I'm sorry for the time I threw up on your microphone.
Yeah, Josh, our guest
Wait,
announcer,
when
Josh
did you throw up on
Sussman,
a
he throws up
microphone?
on me in the film
In
for real.
Tangerine.
Yeah. He
On
threw, you
purpose?
threw up.
Was that scripted?
It was scripted, but he, we want to do it.
It was real vomit.
We want the authenticity. So
How
Josh,
did you make yourself vomit?
Oh, I poisoned myself. So I'm a dedicated actor. I drank lots of alcohol, but then one time I had a birthday party and I had so many drinks of alcohol because when it's your birthday, everyone buys you
Yeah.
drinks, and then you go to Bob's Big Boy as you do, and I had pancakes to try to sober up, and then I had to throw up, and I was like, my vomit was delicious because it was with the pancakes and the syrup. So when it was time to do Tangerine,
I was like, I'm going to recreate my
So
birthday.
you drank a lot and ate pancakes and syrup.
Yeah, I went to the griddle for breakfast, and I just drank, and then I found producer Darren Dean's bourbon bottle, and I just downed a bunch of that.
Holy
and when Sean
shit.
Baker called action, I threw up all over Chris's face,
But to
and
his
his
credit,
mouth, and his eyes.
but he could vomit on cue. I've never seen anything like it. And I could remember, I could taste it in my eyes.
Wow.
Wow, I was
That
just
is a
sick.
huge
I was
deal.
throwing up all night. Like I threw up like 12 times, but like I was trying to get fluids in, so I was drinking like water, and then I was throwing up water, and I was like, that actually was kind of refreshing. It wasn't that bad when it's just water.
And it's fun to be able to act. Like, I feel good. Like, some people, when they get sick, they're not able to recite lines. So I was able to act drunk. No, not act drunk, but act while drunk.
That's the only reason why it was me, is because we couldn't put anybody through that.
Nobody else.
So I
would.
volunteered to be
sure.
vomited
They
on.
want to be in a movie and get vomited on.
I hope someday we could put that raw footage out there somewhere. It didn't wind up on the Blu-ray, but there's so much more to it. You're only seeing the appetizer in the film. It just
You
kept
have
coming.
it somewhere at home in an editing bay.
Yes.
And
It's on
Ian
a hard
Edwards.
drive.
Ian Edwards made his film debut, I believe, in that
Yes,
film.
as
with you guys.
Nash, the dealer.
And then when it went to
Very
Sundance, he didn't
He's
even
against
remember
all that
doing
pimping
it.
shit, though. He's just into the selling of the.
I'm sure.
drugs.
Because it was just on an iPhone. So when it went to Sundance, he was told his movie that he then went to Sundance. He was what? He don't remember. He didn't remember. But then he's like, oh yeah.
Funny. What was the first time that you went to Sundance? When was the first time you went there, Chris?
Oh, I being a huge film geek, I went twice earlier. About 10 years ago was the first time that I went, just to see movies and just to
yeah.
feel.
I bet it's way
cool
more
about
fun
seeing
being there
them.
when you have a movie that everyone loves. At
Yeah,
the
it was.
festival.
There's gift suites that come with that, so that's fun. But that's it's still. I
Did
don't
you
know.
get more in gifts than the movie cost to make? If you did it for no money.
Yeah,
Just
that's
about?
actually probably true.
Wow.
Sometimes though with Sundance, I forgive me for saying this, but there is that sort of too cool for school. Like everybody that's like, I don't know. I just love being a geek and talking about movies, and sometimes people act above it. I don't know.
Sure.
Do you notice that in the film
well,
community?
I went to Sundance a couple of years ago with my lady, and I was like, why are we here? Like, why are we out here? And then we saw. Because she was like, oh, it's fun. It's like good, and you get to like meet lots of people. And I was like, I mean, like there were lots of people. I didn't talk to almost anybody.
That's tough.
It was really tricky, and it was before. It was after Big Time Rush. It was while we were still doing Big Time Rush. I took off the weekend to go, and she said, "Whatever you do," they said, "Whatever you do, don't forget wear a sweater and wear a coat
I have
and
to
wear
talk
and
about
wear a
that.
scarf, wear a scarf." And I forgot to wear a scarf the entire time, and I came back and I had 103.5 fever when I landed, and no one at Big Time Rush was like felt bad for me. They were like, "Oh, get to the set. We don't care if you're dying right now." Like, I was a fucking wreck. So when I go
Yeah, it's
back,
cold.
I mean,
Then you
but it was-
vomited all over James Maslow?
I did. I threw up all over James Maslow's face, and he could taste it in his eye.
This is the vomit episode.
That is a very, but it seemed a little tricky to. But I'm happy I got to go
Yes,
because
same
then
here.
when I get to go for a movie, I'll at least know where the hell I'm
the lay
going.
of the land.
you know,
Yeah,
but
you got to take buses everywhere too, and wait for the buses, and it's kind of
Yeah.
And I'll admit I'm not good at parties. It's very loud, and I just feel like maybe I saw too many concerts in my life because I can never seem to hear what people are saying, and I have to say what like constantly. It's just awkward for me.
It's a
and
hard place to network. I don't know how
Yeah.
people network when the music. What? You have to be so. But I want to talk about the cold because everyone told me bring a scarf, bring a jacket. So I dressed so warm. All the indoor places are heated, and then you have to undress. And it's so weird that I was constantly undressing because it was so hot.
It's
And
like the
whoever told
part
me
of
to have a
Test Track they
jacket?
don't have anymore.
Yeah,
Do you remember
it's
that
hot
where
and
you go
cold.
hot and cold, or they got rid of that?
Well, it's like I was just in China, as people know, and before I went, I was in China before in January in 2004, and I remember it was cold. It was like 20 degrees outside. So I went. It's October. I was like, it'll be a little warmer, but let me still bring warm clothes. So we get ready to the day. We're gonna go to the Great Wall, and I'm like, okay. So I put on long underwear, and I had like a shirt on, and I had a flannel shirt on that had like my jacket, and I had my little backpack. I go. It was like 80 degrees, and we're like trying to climb the Great
my
Wall,
God.
and I'm all like totally bundled up, and I was like, I'm sweating my ass off.
Wow.
holy crap!
Yeah.
That's insane.
By the way, The Great Wall was a good. Why isn't that making any top 10 lists?
Yeah, come on.
I liked it.
Oh, you're talking about the movie The Great Wall?
Matt Damon?
Well, because before it didn't have a chance. I mean, that movie, before it even came out, they're like, cultural appropriation.
I know.
And you're like, yeah. Well,
white man
look,
saves
you
them
don't
all.
you don't make a movie and say it's The Great Wall about the Great Wall of China, and then the poster is Matt Damon's face. That's someone's gonna get.
Look, it worked when they did The Last Samurai and it was Tom Cruise.
Oh no, it did not. People were very upset about it back then, but we didn't have Twitter, so there was no way of knowing.
Okay.
Well, if we could put that aside,
Have you had that problem with like any of your movies? Like, did people ever complain like you made a movie about trans people, there wasn't enough trans representation? Like, do you ever get that?
Yeah,
Like,
I was
in
at a
movies or-
screening where people went nuts.
Well, I didn't
necessarily.
like the way the trans people were being represented in the movie about trans people.
Well, listen, we worked with Maya and Kiki, the two leads of Tangerine, for 6 months, and every step of the way of editing, because we never wanted to cross that line into being
Caricature.
exploitive.
Yeah.
We wanted, and to tell you the truth, it was Maya Taylor, who plays Alexandra in the film, that said she wanted to be able to laugh at this film, and she wanted it to be more of a comedy than we were ever originally intending. And so it was this organic process. But at the USC screening that guest host Josh Sussman just mentioned, I guess some people felt that two straight white males didn't have
What gives you the right
Yeah.
as
to
straight
tell
white males to
cisgender
make?
males shouldn't be able to tell this story.
What right do you have to do this? And well,
But then maybe it's, to be fair, maybe they didn't understand our research process and collaboration with them at that point when they said that. So maybe it's a fair. I don't know anymore.
look,
what right
look,
does George
all,
Lucas
all I
have to
know is
direct?
all I know is I just want to say
George Lucas isn't a porg. What
Steven
does he know about
Spielberg
porgs?
got so much shit for making The Color Purple when he made The Color Purple. People were not happy with him, because
He got Oprah an Oscar.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, but people were like, "What gives you the right to make this movie?"
Yeah.
And in the end, it's like you're taking the initiative. It's your creative brain that decided that that's what you wanted to focus on and make. And I always feel like being a good person isn't about like what you say or it's about what you do. So if you decide with your choices of your life that that's what you want to do with your life is make a movie about trans people in West Hollywood at the donut shop, like fucking that's amazing. Like someone sitting around and being like, hey, I'm offended and that makes me a good person because I got offended that you made this movie.
Right.
Like they're a fucking asshole.
Well, the thing
like
is,
they're
too-
not contributing anything. They're a non-contributing fuck.
And the thing is, that night I didn't get a chance to express this. I don't think at the Q&A because Clu Gulager actually butted
Because John Oliver just fucking railed you. It was just like, how dare you make this movie?
No, but the thing is like I didn't write the movie, and Sean didn't approach this movie as we're writing transgender roles. It was about a girl with a broken heart for me. It could have been a movie, and we could have cast Emma Stone if it was a big studio movie. Like it's the same story that I was writing. So regardless of who we were working with or who we cast, I was approaching it as, this is just a movie about a woman scorned and a woman with a broken heart who wants revenge. And I had a broken heart, and I know a lot of other people had broken hearts. So I was writing it from that place. It didn't matter who was who.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes do some casting work, and I've had conversations with people where they're like, "Well, why can't it be this?" Or why can't we have a transgender Wonder Woman? And you're like, just because you say that doesn't make you like a good person.
Yeah, when
like how about just focus? Like how about like do some nice things? Like don't feel like you have to like make everything. You
Yeah,
know?
and the movie
Like,
might
just-
not have been about that. We happened to meet these two amazing girls that we thought were just going to be
Brilliant.
collaborators, and they were so funny together that we just made them the stars of the movie.
I love it, dude. It's so cool, and it was it looks great. And I remember when Rachel, my girlfriend, saw it at Sundance. Like she went to the screening and watched it. She called me the second it was over and was like, "This is life changing shit."
I
Like,
was
this
so
is
happy we
gonna
could have
be
gotten Rachel into that.
so
It was.
insane.
I'm sure she told you it was a nightmare with the tickets.
God.
And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was
everyone
really
wanted to see
happy
that
She
movie.
got in because it was like so stressful trying to accommodate like everyone.
Man,
Okay, so let's
They
talk
didn't.
about
You
the
know, they
new
never
movie
give
a
you
little
enough tickets
Let's
for
talk
everyone.
about the new movie a little bit because Willem Dafoe picks up Golden Globe nomination this morning, How do you think that's going to affect the public's reaction to this movie? Like, do you think that's going to lead to wider distribution? I mean, where can people see this movie now? Like, if they want to see it.
So the A24 has been great, and it's a platform release. And what was so cool about it, if I could just do a tangent, this was a dream come true because the film gets its title from what Walt Disney referred to Walt Disney World Resort, the working title for it when the press conference happened in the late '60s, and it opened October 1st, 1971, and so our Florida project opened at the New York Film Festival October 1st. Of 2017. So how weird and cosmically cool is that?
That's crazy.
The second Florida project to ever open on October 1st.
And how many of the crew members thought this was a working title?
Yeah, everyone thought it was a working title, and I was trying to explain that it wasn't. It was always called the Florida Project since I first pitched this to Sean in 2011.
Wow.
But they thought it sounds like a working title, so you can't blame them. But then they wouldn't believe me. I was trying to, okay, sure. You just don't want to tell us.
No, come on, tell us what.
So how can people see this movie?
So it opened up in October, but it's been slowly rolling out, and it reached a peak a couple of weeks ago. Now it's about on 100 screens across the country. Go to the A24 website, and there's a list of theaters. And every week I tweet out on my.
Do you think now, like with this Golden Globe nomination, that it's going to go back up? I would think
there's a chance. I mean,
I think people
certainly.
Like that's one thing that sort of is the beauty of all these awards is it tends to lead to more public interest because there are people I'm sure who've never heard of this movie, right? Because it's not a huge release; they haven't seen ads or anything all over.
Yes.
I would hope that now people are like, oh, Willem Defoe, he's getting all this praise. I want to see Willem Defoe, and then
he's great. I've seen the movie 6 times, and there's things you notice each time. Like it's layered that it's a completely different experience watching it your second time than it is your first time.
Sean and I always say that we write for the second viewing. We never expect a sixth. So thank you.
Jeez Louise, that's amazing. Is it playing in Los Angeles right now?
It is. It's not on as many screens here in LA as it was a few weeks back, but it's still in like Sunset 5.
Yeah,
and,
but you know what, man? Is
the ArcLight?
Does the ArcLight pick it up? Is
ArcLight
it playing
Santa
at
Monica,
ArcLight?
I think.
So here in LA, like say opening weekend in LA, do you just like go and like watch a screening and see what people do?
I love it.
Because like you don't tell them like, hey, I'm the guy who made it. We just go in and watch it.
This is where Sean and I differ. Because he doesn't like to ever watch the film. I love it because it's very fascinating to me see how audiences change.
See where they laugh.
Just like you would certain audiences might laugh at one of your jokes, maybe another one doesn't.
Every once in a while.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Now and then.
I mean, it could be
once a month.
different reactions with different audiences. And
Right,
so I love
right.
that. I love to see what's working and how people respond to things.
Yeah.
95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
He's a great guest host.
Dude,
Josh
it's
is pumping your movie.
I love Josh. Josh, I'm so happy that you're here. You're the fucking greatest.
Oh, thank you very
I
much.
really enjoy you.
So it's AMC.
Oh, he's wearing his
Sunset
Florida
5.
Project shirt. I just noticed.
What?
I dress appropriately.
I want to get a Florida Project shirt. Where do you get a Florida Project shirt?
That's a 28 in Maine. Are you familiar with that? It's the Disney sort of cool T-shirt brand. 28 in Maine.
It's for the distinguished Disney gentleman.
Oh wow! I want to.
So it's not.
But that's
this
an
one's-
out of print one.
It's not affiliated with the movie.
eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what Walt, referred to it as, and we're just. Look, it's a dream come true that this movie is actually on screens because this is one of those ones that we never thought we'd get made. It was 5 years of people rolling their eyes at us and saying, "What else you got? What else you got?" So it's a miracle.
So how did the financing for this come together?
Well, finally, through ICM, June Pictures came to the rescue, and they believed in the project. And the rest is history.
So you like, is this something that happened because of the success of Tangerine? I mean, really critical success for Tangerine, where people really loved it. I mean, it wasn't like a huge box office smash, of course, but they look at this movie, they're like, okay, these guys have something, and now let's take some meetings, and what do they want to do next?
Pretty much. I mean, I think every movie opens up doors for us, and we wanted to do Florida Project after Starlet, and Sean intended that to be the next one, and like I said, we just couldn't get any interest.
Do you have like a list of stories with him? Like, is he like your collaborating guy, and you're like, we've got these 5 stories, we're going to make it a movie someday? Or?
We do. It's like an idea vault, and we have.
Wow.
But so then Mark Duplass had this invitation. Like he told Sean, if you ever have anything that's super micro budget that you could basically do for no money, he'd be willing to hear it out, and that's what led to Tangerine, and then that opened the doors for Florida Project.
Wow.
And if we were to make Florida Project back then when we wanted to, we wouldn't have the same cast, and the kids would have been like 1, so we couldn't use those kids, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I think everything does happen for a reason sometimes. Like the universe.
Amazing.
Like the universe, if you're being rejected for something, I think that could be an okay thing. It's like the universe saying it's just not the time yet. We'll get to it later.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, look,
So that's my career. We'll get to it later.
That's the name of your book.
If the good things happen earlier, you wouldn't be available for the really good things that are going to happen later on.
absolutely.
That's what I keep telling myself.
You bet, man.
Well,
you bet.
I guess a perfect example of that story that I tell people or actors, there was an episode of Hannah Montana that I wanted so badly that I thought I was perfect for, and I auditioned for it, and I thought I was amazing, and I did not get it. But during the week that Hannah Montana episode would have shot, I ended up having an audition for a show called Glee, which turned out to be really good for me because I ended up doing 21 episodes. But if I did that one Hannah Montana episode, Glee never would have happened.
I think Mark Hamill just tweeted a similar story where he showed a still that was in Hollywood Reporter of a pilot he did, and if that were to get picked up, he wouldn't have been
I
available
heard
for
a story
Star Wars.
about somebody had gone in to audition for Star Wars, and he was living on their couch at the time. And then they were like, "Oh, you should go audition for this Luke Skywalker role." Like they told him to. I forget who it was. It was somebody famous who's not in the movie, I don't think. But they'd gone in to read for like Obi-Wan or something, and then
I always love
I forget who it was, though.
the Burt Ward story for Batman is such a good weird one.
Which one's that
I
one?
don't know it.
Burt Ward was had auditioned for a million things and wasn't getting any work, couldn't pay his rent anymore, and was living in his car. And then was like, okay, that's it. I got to drive home.
But this is like the early '60s, so cars were huge back then.
Right,
it was
yeah.
bigger than my apartment.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, well, I gotta move home. And so he was like, I'm gonna go to the beach and take a shower. And he went to the beach, took a shower at one of those like showers that you have at the beach. And was like, I'm going to call my agent to just let them know that I'm moving home. And like called the agent. And the agent goes, what are you talking about? We've been trying to get a hold of you for a week. You're Robin in Batman. Get to the set. They're waiting for you.
Gosh.
And he was like, oh my God. And like drove straight to the set. And they dressed him. Same day they dressed him. And I believe he got to sleep at the studio because he
That
had
same
nowhere
day,
else
he
to go.
pretended to climb the side of a building by bending over and pulling the rope. Favorite thing on
God
that show.
bless that man.
I love that show. That was so good.
That's
Chris,
great.
I want to talk with you more, and if you're down for it, would you be down to come back and spend more
Yeah,
time
I feel
with
like
us?
we didn't even touch upon The
I
Last
know.
Jedi.
Look,
So much
we
to talk
haven't
about
gotten
there.
to talk about that. Let's do a part 2 episode where we bring you guys back after Star Wars
nice. Okay.
because I'm going to see it on Thursday,
Yes.
and I will want to
Where are
talk
you seeing
with
it?
other people. The Grove. My mom is actually driving into town just so we can go on opening night to go see
That's
it.
so cool.
For the record, as a J.J. Abrams project, I am boycotting Star Wars. I'm not going to watch
Oh,
it.
this is Ryan Johnson.
He's involved with it. I'm done with J.J. Abrams. He's dead to me. All of his projects are dead to me.
Matt,
Wait, what did JJ do?
He blew up Vulcan.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's got real.
understand.
Look, he's a big Star Trek
I
fan.
understand. This is-
He ruined it for
I
us.
think
big
there's
thing.
findatherapist.com. I recommend that refer to a troubled girl that
Oh my God,
knew.
Chris! Where can people find you on the internet if they're
it's
looking
at,
for you?
It's at Chris Bergoch. It's a weird name, Bergoch on Twitter and on Instagram, and then that's where you can find the theaters that you could see the movie.
Hell yes, and please go see the movie. It is so badass. I can't say enough good things
Thank
about
you.
it. And if you haven't seen Tangerine, you're out of your fucking
It's
mind.
on
You're
Netflix.
listening to the wrong podcast because that's a great podcast.
Netflix,
That's
but
a
if
great
you're
movie.
not obligated to love these things. So tweet me where we lost you.
All right.
If you
Okay.
don't.
What about you, Jolly Josh? Where can they find you?
Well, on Instagram, I'm Mr. Josh Sussman. On Facebook, I'm Mr. Josh Sussman. On Twitter, I'm Josh Sussman.
I love it. I
Didn't you
love
used to
it.
have Jolly Josh as one of your things, or no?
Well, I go by Jolly Josh. And,
Okay.
well, I'll tell you more about that off the air.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. What about you, Matt? Where can people find you?
You can find links to everything at funnymatt.com, or J.J. Abrams can get in touch with me at mattwalkersucks.com.
That's right. And you can always get me at Stephen Glickman, Stephen Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast. Listen to the show. Leave us comments and share. And check out the Florida Project. It's in theaters now. Love you guys. Thanks and peace.
Oh!